Alien Diplomat thought she was untouchable, until a human put her in her place. Ambassador Leora Vex Ain glided to the bustling corridors of Nexus Station with the practiced ease of someone who knew precisely how much space she deserved. Her emerald green skin shimmered under the artificial lights, creating an almost radiant glow that drew attention from every species she passed. Not that she needed the extra attention. Her position as the Asian Confederation's senior diplomat already ensured that. Ambassador, your meeting with the Centaurian delegation has been delayed by 30 minutes. Her aide, a timid blue-skinned proxim named Meryl, informed her while struggling to keep up. Leora didn't slow her pace. Unacceptable. Inform them that I will be there at the originally scheduled time, or they can explain to their prime minister why the trade agreement remains unsigned for another fiscal quarter. But they specifically requested. Did I stutter, Meryl? Leora stopped abruptly, causing her aide to nearly collide with her back. She turned, golden eyes narrowing. The Centaurians have been playing these petty power games for weeks. I don't have time for their posturing. Several passers-by slowed to watch the exchange, which only deepened Leora's irritation. She despised being a spectacle, unless, of course, she was orchestrating herself. Ambassador, I'll relay your message immediately. Meryl's antennae drooped as he frantically tapped on his datapad. Leora resumed her walk toward the diplomatic wing, mentally reviewing her schedule. Nexus Station, humanity's crowning achievement in interstellar diplomacy, had become the galaxy's premier neutral ground for negotiations. Earth had unexpectedly emerged as a stabilizing force in interspecies relations, though she would never admit that aloud. Humans were resourceful, adaptable, surprisingly resilient, and occasionally clever, but their rapid rise from planetary confinement to galactic influence in less than a century had been more luck than skill, in her opinion. The Asian Confederation had been navigating interstellar politics for millennia, long before humans even discovered electricity. As she approached the security checkpoint leading to the diplomatic quarter, she noted with annoyance that the line was longer than usual. Some sort of scanning issue, it seemed. Ambassador Vex Ain called a gruff voice from the security booth. Please proceed to priority screening. Leora smiled thinly. At least someone on this station understood protocol. She glided past the waiting line, ignoring the grumbles of those she bypassed. The security officer, a stocky Arcturian with too many eyes, waved her through. Thank you for your patience, Ambassador. We're experiencing technical difficulties with our primary scanners. Perhaps you should consider upgrading your systems more frequently, she suggested with just enough sweetness to make the criticism sting. The Asian embassy replaced ours last month. I'd be happy to provide a recommendation. The Arcturian's multiple eyes blinked in unison. I'll pass that along to station management. Leora nodded, satisfied that she had made her point, and continued toward the quieter diplomatic quarter. Its curved corridors were lined with the offices and residences of various ambassadors and their staff. She was halfway to her office when her communicator chimed. Ambassador, there's a situation in Conference Room Delta that requires your attention. Meryl's voice came through, sounding more nervous than usual. Leora sighed. What kind of situation? The Relian Trade Minister is threatening to withdraw from the Multi-Species Commerce Treaty. He claims a human representative insulted their ancestral trading practices. Of course he is, she muttered. The Relians were notoriously sensitive about their bartering customs, which most species found archaic and inefficient. I'll be there in 5 minutes. Tell them not to say another word until I arrive. She altered her course toward Conference Room Delta, mentally preparing her approach. This was exactly why the station needed experienced diplomats like herself. Humans, for all their supposed charm, lacked the finesse required for delicate interspecies negotiations. As she rounded the corner near the conference rooms, she nearly collided with a human male in a security uniform. He stepped aside at the last moment, but not before his arm brushed against hers. "Excuse me," he said, his deep voice carrying no trace of deference. Leora stopped, affronted by both the physical contact and his tone. She turned fully to face him, eyes critical. He was tall for a human, with a solid build that filled out his uniform impressively. Short blonde hair, cropped in the military style common among human security personnel. But it was his eyes that caught her attention. cold gray blue, assessing her without intimidation or admiration. "You should watch where you're going," she said sharply. "And as ambassador to you, not excuse me." The human's expression remained unchanged, but something flickered in those icy eyes. "My apologies, Ambassador. Security Chief Callahan, at your service." He offered a small, perfunctory bow that somehow managed to seem more mocking than respectful. Leora's eyes narrowed. "Security Chief? I wasn't aware there had been a change in leadership." "Recent promotion," he replied simply. "I've been reviewing the station's security protocols. There are improvements to be made." "I'm sure there are," she said dismissively. "Perhaps you could start by teaching your staff proper diplomatic etiquette. The checkpoint officers barely acknowledge my status." Callahan's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "My officers are trained to treat all station residents with equal respect, Ambassador, regardless of their status." The emphasis on the last word was